Well, Jim, let's be clear. There's some daylight between what the stated objective of this war has been from the Israeli side and the reality that's playing out on the ground. The stated objective is to return some 60,000 Israelis to their homes in the north. However, what we're witnessing is something much broader than that. It is an attempt to perhaps redraw the balance of power, not only in Lebanon, but more broadly in the Levant and even perhaps in the region as it relates to Iran. And we've heard time and again that this might now very much include a ground component. And in the Lebanese psyche in particular, but others in the region too, they remember that past Israeli land incursions and invasions into Lebanon were also dubbed as being limited before, in 1982, ended up being all the way to Beirut. So there's a lot of question marks and certainly a lack of trust as to how far this operation will go. Is it, in fact, something that is meant to be limited and that unlocks a diplomatic process that allows a return to ceasefire and then 1701, a new security arrangement for South Lebanon? By the way, the Lebanese government has already signed up for that, and a much weakened Hezbollah might allow for it. Or is this something much broader to redraw the balance of power in the region?
Yeah, listen, I don't use the phrase limited ground incursion because limited to what extent, right? And who defines those limits? As you know, Israel's experience on the ground in Lebanon has been bloody in 2006 and going back to the longer occupation, 82 to 2000, often ineffectual. Hezbollah has survived to live another day and sometimes gotten stronger. In your view, has Israel learned lessons from that history?
Well, I mean, I can't speak for Israel, Jim, but I could tell you that there is an opportunity today, very clearly, just listening into the stated Lebanese official position, but not only the Lebanese government position, the public sentiment, where the communal leaders are, including Speaker of Parliament bin Berri, who happens to be Shia, just as Hezbollah is. They are supportive of a ceasefire and an implementation of UN Security Council Resolution 1701 with strong enforcement and monitoring mechanisms. That is not where Hezbollah is. I mean, we heard today for the first time since Nasrallah's assassination from his deputy, from Naim Qassem, and he again insisted on the Lebanon front and the Gaza front being united and continuing to fire from Lebanon as long as there's no ceasefire in Gaza. That is a very unpopular proposition right now in Lebanon. I would dare even say even amongst Hezbollah's support base. And so there's a diplomatic opportunity there for a political breakthrough to capitalize on that.
Yeah, it's a good point because too often folks imagine there's some sort of monolithic support for a group like Hezbollah in Lebanon or even among the Shias in Lebanon or Hamas in Gaza. Decapitation killings, when it comes to terror groups, by themselves often don't make much of a difference in defeating a resistance. That said, this has been across the board, right? I mean, the whole depth chart of Hezbollah leadership eliminated, and in addition to that, the communications network dismantled, and Israel making quite clear to thousands of Hezbollah fighters with the pager attack that they could find them and attack them and injure them, and now you have airstrikes taking out many firing positions, etc. Has Israel, for now, effectively defanged Hezbollah as a clear and present danger on its northern border?
There's only so much that we know at this point, Jim, but very clearly decisive, powerful blows. But this is essentially the opening round of a 12-round match between Hezbollah and backed by Iran on one hand and Israel. And if we know anything from history is that Israel is pretty effective in landing these strong opening blows, but Iran tends to play the long game. Hezbollah tends to regenerate. And so making sure that Hezbollah and Iran do not resupply and that these lines, these logistical supply lines through Syria to Iran are interdicted are key. And the enforcement of that aspect of 1701, once we get to it, would be a very important thing.
Iran, you mentioned Iran playing the long game. They certainly haven't struck back at Israel either for the Haniya killing or now the Nasrallah killing. They seem to be contracting it out, saying that this is, in effect, Hezbollah's job here. I wonder, do you see Iran responding?
Listen, I can tell you this. the lack of a response from Iran is contributing to a lot of misgrievances amongst its Arab allies, particularly in Lebanon, even within the Hezbollah support base in the Shia community, essentially asking and wondering whether they've been left out to dry by themselves with Iran not coming to their aid. I don't think Iran will be coming to their aid. They understand that in any direct confrontation with Israel, they are at a disadvantage. And so what we've been hearing time and again from Iranian officials is this commitment to support Hezbollah, to support the Lebanese and the various proxies in their fight against Israel, but not to be dragged into it themselves. They see that as a trap that they very much want to avoid.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you could even say not just a humiliating blow for Hezbollah, but to date for Iran as well, given how central Hezbollah is to its projection of power regionally. Firas, Maksad, thanks so much for joining.
Pleasure.